Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Marie here with another Martini Talks. Today, I'm hanging out with one of my dear friends. It's Connor Kadel with Kadel Marketing. Hey, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to talk real estate. We're going to talk marketing and planning and what all that means for people that are in that industry. And boy, we've had a
Mhm.
whirl this past year. So talk to me. Tell
Yeah.
everybody what you do and what you've got going on.
Yeah. So essentially, what we do is really help real estate agents, brokerages, and teams essentially be able to get more booked appointments or transactions a month. The method on how we do it is very personalized. We don't work with everybody. We like to work with a select few, and we don't have like one size fits all plans or anything. So there's a lot of different ways, with lead generation, pay-per-click campaigns, or SEO, content creation, new websites. There's a whole lot that you can do to generate leads, especially in 2021 now.
Right.
That we really like to take full advantage of. So we really just want to be a part of the real estate team, work with you guys, and essentially just help you guys start scaling up. So that's kind of a lot of that, and then in a nutshell, and we can dive a little bit deeper into some stuff.
So
But yeah.
So talk to me. So like, obviously everyone that's watching knows me then, and they know that I've been the reluctant realtor. That's kind of my little title,
Hmm.
for all these years, right? In and out of the industry as a licensed agent and really only wanting to care for those that I've taken care of in other capacities as their photographer, travel agent, or just friend or whatever. And so my side of it is very different in terms of, I don't see realtors as my competition at all. I see them as, people that I can help and want to take care of and want them to grow their businesses. I mean, obviously my channel is my main focus in planting vegetables and showing people how to be sweet.
Hmm.
But the thing that I've noticed is the new agent, especially the new agent that doesn't
Yeah.
have that background or network built, such as I've got, from all the other things that I've done over the years, really struggles. I mean, it's a struggle to try to teach them. A lot of them have come in from different industries. They're not really aware exactly of what that looks like in terms of their day to day because they're working for themselves.
Right.
So it's really hard when you go through it. Of course, I'm now with Keller Williams in Houston, at the Memorial office, and there's 750 agents in that office. And I love that because, if you do get a house listed and you need an open house held, you've got a whole bunch of people that are hungry and they're willing to go sit in an open house while I'm staying here shooting babies, right? So there's a really
Yeah.
nice benefit not being in a small office with my circumstance. But for someone who's starting out, they're needing to write letters, they're needing to touch people, they've got to get that sphere that they always talk about of people who
Hmm.
they're close to let them know kind of what they do and that they're now doing that as a new career.
Yeah.
What sort of, but here's the thing, Connor, it's expensive. Like, you've
Yeah.
got the HAR fees in Houston, of course, it's like that everywhere across the country, but the MLS, you've got your license, you've got your errors and emissions insurance, you've got, sometimes the broker gives you the website, sometimes the brokers don't. There's a lot of money that just flies out the door before you're ever making any money. And even if you work that deal all the way down to where it's going to close, something might go wrong at that last minute and then you don't get paid. So it's one of those
Hmm.
crazy jobs, which is one of the reasons why I'm the reluctant realtor, that you can do a whole lot of work and then not at the end of the day end up with money, right? And I don't like that at all. I
Yeah.
like to be paid, right? So yeah, I think we all do. But what do you think, or what do you see for the new realtor who is just starting out in a cost basis in terms of kind of what they can look at of how they can do that? Like, how can they generate leads? Is it a Facebook ads? Is it some sort of a funnel? Like, what exactly can we do that would help that new person,
Hmm.
that's not the $1 million listing agent, right? That's out there, that's got the team already in place and got all this money coming in and multiple listings closing multiple days each month and all of those things. I mean, that's what everybody wants in that
Right.
industry. But it's a hard road to get to that. It's that
Yeah.
mountain that you have to kind of get up. That once you get there and people all know you and they start talking, it's cool. But it's that first part of it that's really struggling. Gets a lot of people stumped.
Yeah. So the I think a lot of it's just the barrier to entry is very low, to be an agent, right? And that's really great because I think real estate's amazing, and that's why we're in the field to begin with. The one thing, helping and talking to realtors literally all day long is, there's just not enough support on the back end. There's a lot of old marketing techniques that worked in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that get passed down through the courses, but they don't really get updated. So they teach you how to do the work, and then they just leave you out to dry. And then you have a couple options, right? You can join someone like Keller Williams and be there for 5 years, and there's some pros and cons to that. But one of the things is eventually you're going to build somebody else's brand on there. It's hard to, you always got to put Keller Williams somewhere.
Sure. Sure.
So if you're wanting to build your own brand, your own team, brokerage, whatever, you eventually need to make that switch. So it's there's some pros and cons there. And then there's some other vendors that you can look to, like Realtor.com or Zillow, but they kind of do.
Now that's a feeding frenzy, Connor. They came to me. That's a feeding frenzy. I mean, one of the things that they did that just really, I mean, not knocking them, whatever, come after me, don't. The reality is that the leads are not given directly to that one agent. It's like they're not
only for the agent.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
For the love of the Lord, if I'm not willing to stay up till 3 a.m. and answer the phones and make calls to people, there's a hungrier agent, like a shark in the water, that's going to also get that, and they're going to do something else, like maybe put it on an auto voicemail service to capture that lead and get that initial touch done there, which is another expense. I mean, like, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah. So the best thing that I always recommend, and so we also have a consultative approach to a lot of things. So let's say you just need some coaching. If you're in the position, you're a realtor watching this and you're in that position, we do coaching as well. Because what you always want to start off with, if you're at the very beginning, you just started, would I recommend doing like a pay-per-click campaign right away? No. Is it highly effective? Yeah, but you don't have a sales process just yet. You don't really have the experience. And when you start getting, like just for one of our clients, with booked appointments and something, because we have our own ISA team that'll take care of that. When they have, anywhere from 10 to 15 booked appointments a month, you need to be able to handle that type of volume. Like these are people who've gone through the whole thing. You need to be able to, pick up and go. And starting off, I always say you want a couple of transactions under your belt organically. There's a couple of different ways to handle that. I knew a lot of people who do like postcards and emails and stuff, and that's great. But your time is your money when you're working for yourself. So there's a lot of other ways to get out there, website, SEO, blogging, content creation. There are some other free or cheaper options as well, that really make you stand out, because number one thing that I've seen is that realtors never want to get in front of the camera. I don't know why, but and the ones that do end up doing so well. And so it's
maybe I should think about that. That's hysterical, because that was the thing that I mean, like, it's funny because people were like, oh, you're gonna do this, what, you're gonna do this YouTube channel thing, oh, you're already doing real estate, you're already doing travel, you're already doing photography, you're writing all these columns for all these magazines, what in the world are you doing with this channel? And then I thought, well, I'm gonna have to do what I need to do, right? I need to do what I need to do. We're all stuck at home. So might as well share what I've been doing. And it's just, obviously I'm not afraid of being in front of the camera. I've been so many television programs and different things over the years with breast cancer and kids cancer and trips to India to take care of those kids in the world. Whatever it was, mic me up and turn me on, and here I am. But so that's
got your name out there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just comfortable talking to people. I mean, I'll walk up to a perfect stranger and give them a hug. Used to. I'll go back to that eventually. But that's interesting that there's a lot of people who are really there to do that.
It's crazy. So, if you take any average city, you're going to have a lot of realtors in the area. And, the hard truth is that the realtor job, anybody who's licensed can do it. There's nothing unique
No.
specifically, you know, about maybe your personality. Sure. And that's what you need to change. That's what you need to promote. So, you know, if I'm looking to buy a home or if I'm looking to sell, you know, and I don't have one that I've worked with before in the past, I can go online. There's a whole list of just people in my area. Who's going to stick out to me is names I'm familiar with, people who, oh, I can see a face, you know, I can connect with that or reside with that, or content creation. Oh yeah, I'm reading about real estate. I might not be interested right now, but in 6 months, you know, never know. But I'm reading about, you know, value and advice and information. It really goes a long way. And that's just starting off. Once you get into a point where you're hitting at least 1 to 2 transactions pretty consistently a month organically, that's when you can turn on some more paid stuff, because then you'll have some money in the bank. You'll be able to know what you're doing. And that's kind of where we come in, you know, officially to really help you start to scale and get that that volume settled and stuff like that. So there's no real golden nuggets again of what we do, but what we do is very personal. We work, you know, everybody runs their business different. So everybody needs that attention. Everybody's at different parts and different points. So we really need to work together and make the success the way it is. So,
Well, I love two things. One thing is that you're not afraid to take that initial step with the new person, you know,
yeah, no, of
really
course.
holding them and helping them and getting them where they really will become like for me, a client for life. I mean, like they don't forget that. If, you know, if
Yeah.
you're with them when they don't have any money, helping them make money, they're going to stay with you when they have money and give you their money. And that's the philosophy that I've always done. And you know, lots of new mamas and daddies making babies don't have $3,000 or $4,000 to drop on baby photography, but if they'll come see me when they can afford it, then it's still sitting in their file and they can buy it. Like after they've gone through what they need to go through as new parents to get money in the bank and move on. And so there's a lot to be said for that philosophy of taking care of people, right?
Well, there's also, yeah,
And
there's also not a lot of help. There's also, it's like, you know what, like I said, once they get their license and they're put out and they're like, okay, good luck. And you're like, okay, well, you know, now how am I
now
supposed to
what?
get people?
Yeah.
So,
Now what? Now what?
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. So let me ask you this: in terms of the actual, now let's pretend like we've gone through. Let's a realtor has walked through with you. You've done the counseling. We've done the organic. Everybody's moving along. There's a few things in the pipeline. They're getting you to help them do most of, or if not all of their marketing, getting everything out there in sort of a, what I like to call, with the way I live my life is I've always got 3 or 4 pots on the stove, right? I'm
exactly. Yeah.
working on tomatoes over here, and while they're growing, I'm shooting a baby over there. And while I'm waiting on that one to be born, I'm also over here writing a column and, oh, you need a vacation, and now you need me to sell your house. So there's always this sort of like dance that I do with the client in where they are and what I can give them to serve them. So
Hmm.
once you've gotten them to that point, is there uh, a process that you go through with the leads that will somehow filter through the leads
Hmm.
for them so that they're not, because that's the biggest time waster, is having somebody call, or like me, normally I'm, you know, wearing my wig. Today I wore my hair down, and most people will, there'll be some comments about that, because every time I wear my hair down, I've worn that wig since 1995 and everybody sees that ding dang wig, but I wear it because it's hot in the studio, because I got to heat the babies up to get them to do what I need them to do. And I'm not
Sure.
in the studio today, so I can wear it down. But when they see me out in public and they see that wig, invariably someone will stop me and say, hey, do you have a card? And I'll ask them, what is it that you're looking for? And they'll say something like, oh, I saw that you wrote this column about real estate, right? Let's just
Hmm.
use real estate since real estate's your thing. That happens to me for all of it: photography, real estate, travel, whatever, gardening, whatever. Let's pretend like it's just real estate. And I give them their information, my information. They give me their information. And then I find that if I don't know them from Adam, right, if they're just some random person that saw me or recognized me in a magazine or whatever, 95% of the time, they're not even a good lead. They're someone who just wants to ask a question, maybe have me send them some information. They're not willing to sign the IABS, which is required. You know, they're not wanting to do any of the paperwork to
Hmm.
lock me to them. And so that's a time waster. Like, and for me, and I'm speaking only for me, obviously, for me, having more than one egg in the basket, I don't
Yeah.
even want to, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, ugh, I'm the reluctant realtor, because I don't want to deal with people that don't already know. My people know I'm busy. So if they call me up and I've been photographing them for 12 years and say, hey, I'm ready to buy a house, they know not to call me unless they're ready to buy a house, because they know they're
Yeah.
disturbing me if they, and they know I'm going to get mad, right? So
Yeah.
they don't want to make Auntie A mad. So how do you filter through for the regular realtor those leads so that they know when they're on the phone, or whether you do a live pass off to them? Not sure what your model is, but I'm familiar with other services, obviously, because I get hit like everybody else with services of those that take care of these people in the industry. Now, how do you know with you, what is your process? I mean, without having, you don't share all of it, obviously, but like they don't get
Yeah.
like leads that are going to be crappy leads. You're going to give them the leads that you've already sort of pre-qualified in a way, hopefully.
Right. So there's like 3 points there, and I might ramble a little bit, but
That's fine.
so one of the things that you're starting off with when you're talking about like we just talked about, like what you just got started, we're doing organic. There's going to be a natural point where you start to plateau, right? Where you're going to start changing your time for money. And one of the people that we work with, he was at a point where he would spend about half a day just writing emails, postcards, all of it. And that, half a day doesn't seem like a lot, but every day, half a day doing that ends up to be 15 days out of the month, half a year of just prospecting, which takes out all your time of actually selling and stuff. So once you start to see that, we're like, okay, something needs to change, because you're only actually working with people for half the year. That's part number one. Once you're ready to make that jump is step number two. So the way that our process works a little bit is, first, what's going to work best for you? Is it a new website? Is it SEO? Is it content, better content, more consistent? Or is it a pay-per-click campaign? Because most of the time you'll find that they're at that point, they just don't know it. And starting with that is obviously going to be number one. Who's your ideal clientele you want to work with, right? Who is it? Buyers? Is it sellers? Is it both? Is it people who make a certain amount? Is it what's their price range? What's the area? Once you figure that, then the next point is, okay, what platform? So YouTube is really great. Nobody wants to get in front of the camera. Google is really good for buyers. If you want a buyer lead, you're going to want to go on Google. It's very heavily targeted, high intent. Facebook's really good for sellers. LinkedIn's very good for commercial real estate. Knowing the platforms, knowing who you're targeting, step number one, always, because people are like, oh, Facebook's for everything.
No.
Well, it's not. So let's just say, I'm just going to use one of our people for example. For Google, they're looking for buyers. Basically, a pay-per-click campaign, high targeted, very, make sure that we're narrowed down. The more specific we can be. We can even target, it's a little scary, we can even target people who have visited Realtor.com or Zillow in buying process. It's very, when you get into it, it's like, okay, I didn't know they had that, but it makes sense.
Oh, darling, I love it.
Like,
My son hates that whole generation.
Yeah.
The new ones are mad. He's got
Yeah.
like a third-party authentication email from Switzerland because he doesn't want anyone knowing where he is, who he is, what he's doing, nothing. And that age group is really mad about people tracking and knowing what they're doing. And he's livid about the YouTube. Of course, every time I tell anybody, he's like, they're going to come to the house. I'm like, they've been coming to the house for the past 23 years.
Yeah.
Websites had the address for the past 23 years. And if they're going to show up, they're going to show up. I mean, like, whatever. But,
yeah,
there's regardless. A lot of privacy there. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I mean, you can track them down to whether, I told somebody one time we were talking about tracking for my ideal client for photography. And I was like, oh, it's second wife. She's got 2 nannies. She drives a BMW, Mercedes-Benz, SUVs. She's a soccer mom. She goes to Starbucks every morning after dropping off the kids to private school. I can give you all of her daily. She goes to the spa twice a month. They have a vacation that we plan at least $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a year, if not twice a year. There's a Louis Vuitton purchase or a Gucci purchase in there somewhere. There's definitely a diamond for Valentine's or birthday or anniversary. I could regurgitate the absolute silhouette of the perfect mom with who takes care of wanting to be in the fine art photography luxury scene, which is what I've been in forever. And they were like, well, we could tell you if she drove through Starbucks. I said, oh boy. Oh boy. And that was years ago.
Yeah.
That was years ago. It's wild.
It's only gotten better. And now, and now whether that you're against it or not, the truth is it's going to happen. It's already happening. It's going to keep going. So the best part is to take advantage of it. And that's step number one in that process. Step number two is an automated system or something to filter out the tire kickers, people just looking. That way you're not manually doing it. Really save a whole lot of time. For this specific person that we're talking about, the way that we do it right now is sending people to a landing page with their picture, information about them, how, anything they want to say, and that really is going to separate them from the other realtors in the area, give them some credibility. And then there's going to be a survey on there. A couple of questions that are very key, why they want to move, or, why they're buying, HOA, no HOA, what their price point is, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, what their credit score is. You can ask these questions and people are like, oh, they're not going to fill it out. Well, the ones that fill it out are ready. Are they pre-approved? Are they talking to a lender? When you get a lead, that comes through Google because they've already searched it, right? I need to buy a house or realtors in the area. And then they fill out all this information and you get it. It's like, okay, now I know that they're serious. I know that they're ready. And then on the third step is the follow-up. So we have our own CRM that we built out, that we partner with. People can use their own if they want, but the one that we have is very powerful because you can text, email, call, voicemail, drop, do a whole lot of stuff there. And the ISA team follows up. They're not selling, they're not pitching. All they do is verify the information. They are who they say they are. And then transfer them over for a live transfer or put them on a booked appointment online. So essentially one of our partners, like you were talking about before, a lot of pots, right? He has us doing his content creation, SEO for his website, lead generation through the Google account, and then some other organic stuff like Google My Business. And all of these things, he really is just connecting. He's busy, super bit. Like if I pull up his calendar, he's boom, boom, boom. He's got all this stuff. He doesn't have time to go through all the leads. Our ISA team books him on his calendar. They populate on his phone. He knows. He's like, okay, 2 days from now, I got an appointment with this person. Here's all that information. Like, it's very, very powerful. And
it's sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet. I love that.
It takes the guessing of where's my next lead going to come from, or where's my next, transaction going to come from. That feast or famine cycle. We do predictability. You put $1 in, I'm getting 3 out this month. I did that 3 times, 3 months. Okay. So now I'm going to put $2 in, get 6 out. It's a lot easier to predict and get that consistency, which a lot of people really need. Especially, I think a lot of people saw it last year in 2020, that the people that didn't have some sort of system and relied really heavily on referrals, may have seen a pretty big hit. They may have not, but from the people I've talked to, it's definitely show them that something needs to change.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot that needs to be tweaked. I mean, there's some, obviously nobody's wanting to go walk up to random strangers' houses and knock on doors anymore.
No.
That was the old school way, door hangers and door knocking. And that's not cool, especially right now, but still just not cool. I never felt comfortable doing that. It never felt right to me. And then referrals, of course, well, that's just how everything's always been in the old school, old boys club, all of that, right? Back to the house, sitting around having a scotch and, I need to buy, a $10 million house. And so, my son just got his license and that's how he gets that gig, right? From that. But now things are different. Yeah. And people are also looking for deals.
Mm-hmm. Especially with interest rates right now. They're so crazy.
Now, what's your
Um,
percentage rate of inventory where you are? Because I know you're not in Texas, you're over in Florida.
Florida, yeah, West Palm. So it's still very low. But the band for Florida just lifted yesterday for eviction bans. So I didn't see anything about an extension. So according to the,
You know, we came to Houston and bought 70 houses in 1990, and we've had
yeah,
to sit on our hands and call our lawyer every week. I'm like, is the court open? Is the court closed? Have they changed
yeah,
the rules yet? What's happening when we know they're going to work and they're just not paying the rent or paying the mortgage to us because they don't have to,
yeah,
right? And so it's like, like that's the one. I mean, I understand having to reschedule your ding dang vacation. I get it. Who wants to
hmm,
get on an airplane and fly to Rome? Who can do
yeah,
that? You know, it's just that whole thing makes sense to me. I can get your money back. We can reschedule you, whatever, whatever, whatever. But if you're in your house and you're working and you're making money and you just choose to not pay your rent, how long do they expect us to sit on our hands and just not? Because we've got to pay too. Like
other
it's a
people,
domino
yeah.
effect of all of that. So that's good to hear. It's not lifted in Texas. I thought I heard something with Biden about all the way into 2022.
So I don't want to get too political with everything, but Biden's changing some of the ways. He hasn't. I haven't seen anything where, I may be wrong. He may have already posted or said something official. I haven't seen anything official about extensions. If there was going to be one for Florida, I was expecting it to be a couple days ago. But
Okay.
apparently, again, this was literally last night. I was reading. I was like, okay, it still says the 31st is the last day, and okay. So what we're expecting is that a lot of people are going to get evicted here in the next couple weeks. They're expecting 4 times the average amount, which is going to be crazy and should start opening up. Because here's the thing: let's say I've rented out my property to somebody and they haven't been able to pay me back for months. And now I'm like, well, this was a pain. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to sell it.
Right.
That's what we're seeing a lot of people talk about and start doing, because they've just sat on the property and lost a lot of money. So now they're like, okay, how am I going to get it back? I need to sell it to at least break even at this point. So, and then, other people with renters and stuff like that. So we're going to see how it goes. It should start opening up the inventory. And then with, interest rates the way they are, at an all-time low, there's going to be a big bubble that we're expecting. So, a lot of our people that we're partnered with are ready. They got their systems going. They know something's coming up. We don't work with everybody just in Florida. We have a lot of other people, even in Texas.
Oh, I know. That's why
And
you're on my show.
yeah. And so, we tailor, we try to look into, say, okay, what's going on in your area, what's happening, how can we use that to our advantage and stuff like that. So here in Florida, for the people that we are working with, we know that there's a big bubble coming. We're still waiting to see some other stuff. I think Texas right now is pushed till end of February, last I checked. But again, Biden is looking to change some stuff in some states. So it really depends, and it's just going to kind of be a waiver. But that does give people time who see this to, okay,
Well, they're
there's a
seeing it all
bubble
over the
coming.
country. Yeah, they're seeing it all over the
Yeah,
country. It's YouTube. But from us, like
yeah,
Houston, and people know, I'm in Houston, it's a 1.2% inventory. We've
hmm,
got a backlog like everyone else across the country with people who haven't paid their rent. They're going to
yeah,
get evicted. There's going to be a bunch of houses available for people to buy, a lot of rental property available for people to buy. A lot of people in big old houses are going to have to go down to smaller houses and there's the whole step up tax thing going on, which again, I'll say what you said. I'm not going to get into all the politics of all of that, but you
yeah,
change the step up situation, you're going to have mom and daddy who normally would buy like a $10 million house change gears because they can't give that tax free. So they're going to be changing the way that they do their investments and how they build everything out for their inheritance for their children, because that
yeah,
affects all of that. So there's a lot of
yeah,
changes coming up. However long they last, we don't know. But for sure, I think across the country, realtors have got it made really, really a bed busy for the next several years because of all of this, because there's going to take a long time to get everybody back into these houses once these guys get evicted from them, because it's across the city, small,
yeah, and
yeah.
I will say anybody who is still a realtor right now and made it through 2020, kudos to you guys, because that was it really showed, the people who had something in place. And there was a lot of people I talked to who just, months and months and months with no referrals, no nothing, and that's what they relied on. So that's that's a big accomplishment right there. Now hopefully 2021 is going to be an overcorrect. So we'll definitely see some interesting stuff occurring this year, I hope, in real estate. And I'm looking to definitely help anybody who's in those different areas and talk to them at least. And but definitely knowing this information is very powerful too. There's some people I talk to who are like, oh, I don't care. And it's like, well, this affects your career. It's like, yeah,
you gotta care.
They're like, oh, interest rates, they're like, oh, interest rates fluctuates, whatever. It's like, yeah, but they're also at like an all-time low. So you should probably be pushing that and talk, it's interesting. So that's all I can say on that.
It always is, Connor. There's always people who are like hungry and people that are complacent. And it's always the early bird that gets the worm, really. I mean, at the end of the day, you can be out there too, but as long as you hustle every day all the time, like you said, this other client of yours, I mean, it's a half a day commitment. And at some point you got to get off that wheel and pass that wheel to you. So, well, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for sharing everything that you do. I love the fact that you're doing your business the way I do mine, which is very much about caring for each person has its own thing it needs. It's not a cookie cutter process. It's not, we only take people who are making such and such amount of money per month as a realtor. We're going to like only help these people and not help these people. It's really all encompassing. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to share that with people that are watching, and wish you and your brother the very best. You've got the family business going like we do. And so I just love that too. So
yes, I forgot to mention, I run this with my brother. So, but we were talking before. So it was great to be here. I thank you for letting me come on your show and, just give a little bit about us and what we do. We're definitely looking to, grow and help people especially this next year. And so I'm glad that we get to be a part and share that with you.
That's awesome. Listen, for all of my viewers, here's my little Topo Chico, not a martini, because we're doing this in the middle of the day. And you got the breast. Yeah, you go. Yeah. Do us a favor, like and share, ring that bell if any of this has been of value to you. And we'll see you guys soon on the channel. And again, Connor, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah.
Today.